Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm creating a really simple Happy Meal card doing some no-line coloring, and therefore I'm using the adorable Better Together from My Favorite Things as well as the Cloud 9 from Mama Elephant. So I have already die-cut the Cloud 9 border out of Strathmore Bristol Smooth because I'm going to do some no-line coloring with my distress inks, and then I really like the Strathmore Bristol Smooth. I'm also using the antique linen to stamp out my images because this is a really soft and light ink. You can also use some no-line coloring inks, or if you want to color something in grays, you can use a really soft gray ink. It's all possible. You just need to think about inks that can be covered with the colors you want to use. And then normally you will be fine. So I'm just stamping it out, and then I'm going to color these images in using some distress inks. So for the bear I'm using antique linen, vintage photo, as well as the Victorian velvet. And then the balloons will be with forest moss and old paper. And then in the end I will also add some tumbled glass to the back, but that I hadn't figured out at this moment. So for those who aren't familiar with my channel or with the way I do no-line coloring with distress inks, I actually take a paintbrush that I am familiar with. It's really important to just have a paintbrush. The size is, in my opinion, personal. This one is a 0, but you just need to find a paintbrush where you are comfortable with, which you control, and then it will go smoothly. Of course, you cannot color in small images using a large paintbrush, but it's not like you have to have the thinnest paintbrush ever. I also have a 02 paintbrush, and it's thinner than this one, but then again I don't control it that good, and it's from the same brand, so that's not the thing. But this one works perfectly for me, so I always realize it when I have the wrong one, because I just cannot control it. So if you want to know the size I'm using, it's a 0, but really try your paintbrushes out, preferably on a larger image, so you have some wiggle room to correct yourself if it's the first time or anything like that. But just make sure you're comfortable, you have control. That's the most important part. And then for the coloring itself, I am taking a large amount of the ink. I don't have a lot of water on my paintbrush, I have barely any water. And then after adding it to the edges where I want more shadow, I am taking a damp paintbrush, the same one, I just make it damp, and I drag that color into the rest of the image. And I just keep adding layers until I'm happy with the depth created, with the shadows, and that's how I do it. I'm not an expert, of course, but if you like how my end result is, this is what I do. But everyone has its own technique. I didn't follow any lessons, so probably there are better ways. But this works for me, so I'm keeping this one. So yeah, this one is going to be a Happy Meal, and I'm going to send it to a couple, actually the owners of cardnouveau. So when I'm recording this, I haven't sent it yet, but you will only see it when it arrived already. So it arrived, and now I'm sharing it. But actually it's because I'm sending it to the owners that I decided to use the greens. So the owners of cardnouveau actually are a couple, and because their names are Jolien and Yannick, and because Yannick is also one of the recipients, I thought that maybe a green color in the balloons would also speak to him, so that's why I did this color combination. And I don't know if you have ever sent a card to the shop where you bought the products, But in my case, I'm doing this because they deserve a shout out. I really am so glad that they are here, that they started their business. They are growing enormously. They really try to get things that you want to have. So I'm one of those customers who is like scrolling through Instagram and seeing a new stamp set, and I'm just sending that picture to them and asking them whether they can get it or not, and they will get back to you. If you ask them, they will be honest. That's handy. I know someone would love to hear a yes, but if it's not available, you also need to know. So that's what I really like about them. They are always really friendly, always ready to help, and yeah, I just think that they deserve a little happy meal with a thank you. So that's what I'm doing here. So if you have a favorite craft store or anything like that, if you didn't send them a card yet, maybe this is something that you can do with some products that you bought there, perhaps. I just think that that's a lovely idea. Also, with the current situation, shops are having a harder time as well. I'm glad that cardnouveau is an online shop, so I can just keep ordering without leaving the house, without endangering people, just staying safe and ordering online. So I'm lucky to be able to do that. But yeah, I like the idea of giving back. It's not with products or anything like that, but I think that they will appreciate it. So I will have heard that today. But when you see this end, I'm recording it a bit earlier, of course. So here I'm just adding a bit of blue on the back. I'm not trying to shade anything, I just wanted to give it a bit more color. I'm also not trying to go right against the image. Here I had a bit of a problem with going too close to the strings because it began to bleed, but I'm just going to fix it. It's water reactive, so just take your paintbrush to your water, add a bit of water, and then go over those spaces where you had some bleeding and dab it off. That's how it works. And then I had to redo that string a bit, but I'm really happy with the end result, so that's the most important part. I'm adding a bit more blue, and when that's done I can add the sentiment. So the first sentiment that I'm adding is "You're my people," which I think is an adorable sentiment. I don't know why. I would never say it just like this, but I really like it with the bear and the balloons. But I'm speaking Dutch, so if I say something in English, I don't think that the sentence "You're my people" would be the thing that I would say. I think I would say "You're my kind of people." But then again, I am not a native English speaker, so but I really like it, and the images are a bit funky and a bit edgy. I really love them, so I think it fits perfectly with this stamp set. So now I'm adding friends to the sky, and I'm using therefore the gravel ink from the stamp market, and I don't know if you saw it on Instagram, but this is one of my favorite ink colors from the stamp market. It's a really soft brownish grayish color. I cannot explain it, but it's really soft, and I just thought that it fit perfectly with the green and the brown, and I wanted it to be really subtle in the back. So yeah, that's why I did. And then because I did some no-line coloring and I used my heat gun, my panel was a bit warped, so I decided to use some Scotch foam tape to help me get this panel on top of my card base, and this already helps a lot with flattening out your panel. which is always handy. You can also put your panel inside of a book or underneath something heavy, but when I'm filming I always try to finish my card in one go, so I prefer just using the tape and then flattening it out this way. And then this card is finished. I'm not going to add anything more. I just think it's perfect this way, and I hope you think the same. So if you enjoyed this video and the card, please give this one a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate it. If you didn't know it yet, I also have a playlist with all my no-line coloring if you're interested in seeing that more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!